Adequate notice of the April 9th, 2026 regular meeting of the Township Committee has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on a bulletin board in the Municipal Building, 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, and by posting the same on the official website, and by delivering such notice to the following newspapers: Morris County Daily Record, Hanover Eagle, and by filing the same with the Township Clerk.
Roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Here.
Committeeman Faramosca.
Here.
Committeeman Francioli.
Here.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Here.
Mayor Gallagher.
Here.
5 members in attendance.
Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing as Deputy Mayor Mike Mahalko will lead us in the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, please watch over and guide this governing body with abundance of wisdom and understanding to help make the best decisions for our residents. Please bless our first responders and township volunteers who help keep us all safe. Also, bless our township employees and residents. Lastly, please let us pray for the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who stand vigil over us always. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. First on the agenda, we have the approval of the Township Committee meeting minutes of March 12th. May I please have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Next on the agenda, we have letters of communications. The first letter is a letter of resignation from Design Engineer Project Manager Isaac Raymond, effective March 31st, 2026. The second is a letter of retirement from Police Department Matron Ray Ann Wallace, effective March 31st, 2026. And lastly, I have a letter of resignation from Deputy Court Administrator Aileen Delgado, effective April 17th, 2026. May I please have a motion to approve the letters of communication?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Did I say that it was a letter of retirement from the Police Department Matron? I'm sorry if I said resignation. Next on the agenda is the public hearing and consideration of adopting the 2026 municipal current fund budget in the amount of $33,813,754.01. Proof of publication that the current fund budget appeared in full in the Daily Record on March 19th and also on the Township website on March 13th, according with law. At this time, may I please have a motion to convene the public hearing on the 2026 current fund budget?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning the 2026 municipal current fund budget? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Gary Kaiser, here from the Township. First of all, I'd like to thank the Township Committee and all their department heads that worked on this budget. When you first sat down to work on this budget, the tax increase was up here. You came down to here, and it's a lot of work to do that on the budgets. And I know your pension bill and the healthcare bill is probably the biggest item in your budget. It's a lot of work, and the problem we have is Governor Christie back in 2010 put a 2% cap on your prior year's budget. You can't go above your 2% on your budgets. Here in 2026, things are out of control. When I say out of control, that 2% isn't cutting your budgets. You have to go out of your budget. The problem here, I see, our legislators, you gentlemen can't do it, they need to look at that 2% cap and raise it. That's not going to happen because you're going to raise taxes, so they're not going to do that. The other problem we have is I believe in the fair share, we have your pay. When you go out to work, there's a, what the hell you call it? And your unions is your...
Prevailing wage.
Prevailing wages, yes, your prevailing wages when you hire a contractor is out of control. New Jersey's right-to-work state. And the prevailing wages have to come down, or something has to happen. Like I said, it's not up to you, gentlemen, it's up to our state legislators. The Board of Educations are in the same predicament that you are. Look at our own town. Every time you pick up the paper, layoffs, transfers, whatever they're doing, is because of the high cost of our pay costs, your pension and your health care. But anyway, besides that, you did a good job on doing it. The only other thing is, it appears on your capital projects. 2 years ago, you're gonna put capital projects off to another year. You keep putting them off, you keep putting them off. When is this gonna stop, where we can start doing your capital projects? Department of Public Works needs equipment, our roads, there is money back in the budget for the roads. There's a lot of other things in our township. You can't keep kicking the can down the road, or you're gonna be in a lot of trouble in the future, if not now. But thank you for putting that budget together.
Thank you, Gary. Anyone else? I just have 2 comments, Gary, and this is for everybody. Some of you may or may not know that I'm a vice president of the Morris County League of Municipalities. We've all been talking quite a bit about our budgets. I have a lot of information about a lot of surrounding municipalities. Not every municipality is the same, although we have a lot of similarities. Our tax increase this year is one of the best ones, period. It's very, very good, very low, which is consistent with Hanover Township. And I'm very proud to say last year, our infrastructure improvement cost was $1.9 million. We realize we have to do more and more for our infrastructure. This year, our infrastructure improvement is $4 million. So we're doing all of the above. We're working as hard as we could to be as aggressive as possible, keeping our tax rate down. And we're also working as hard as we could to do as much as we can with that money. There's a lot of things that we can't do, but also Hanover Township is in the front on seeking out grants and different ways to subsidize improvements in our town that are well-needed and long overdue. So Gary, thanks for your kind words. I know you spent a lot of time working with us, and you saw what we started with, and you saw what we got to, and I think Hanover Township's in pretty good shape. And if anyone has any more comments, the floor is still open for the budget. Otherwise, I'll ask for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt the 2026 current fund municipal budget?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call? Committeeman Cahill?
Aye.
Committeeman Faramasca?
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli?
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko?
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher?
Aye.
So adopted.
So, Krista, I just want to thank Silvio Esposito. We take a lot of credit for a lot of this work, and we do put a lot of time into it, but we have an incredible CFO. And Silvio, thank you very, very much. You are the absolute best. You really are. And we appreciate you, and Hanover appreciates you, so thank you, sir.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Krista.
You're welcome. Next order of business is the public hearing for the exterior repair and restoration of the Tuttle House. But before I begin, I would like to ask our business administrator to provide us with the purpose of this hearing.
Okay, thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm pleased to see that there are a number of members of our distinguished Landmark Commission and Cultural Arts Committee present this evening, and I think they will all appreciate what we are about to embark upon. I'd like, first of all, for those who are not familiar with the Tuttle House, just to give a thumbnail sketch about the Tuttle House before we talk about the actual proposed restoration of the Tuttle House. The Tuttle House is located at 341 Route 10 East, just east of the Troy Hills Jug Handle. That home was built in 1796 by Samuel Tuttle. And After Samuel Tuttle's demise, it went on to his grandson, Joseph Tuttle. And the Tuttle House remained in the Tuttle family from 1796 until 1913, for 117 years, before it was sold to Lavinia Beaumont. And Lavinia Beaumont then had that house until 1924 in her possession. In 1924, she sold it to the Spada family. And for 97 years, the Tuttle House was in the possession of the Spada family. Back in 2020, the Spada family approached the township and asked whether or not we would be interested in receiving it as a donation. And the township committee at that time said yes. The Tuttle House is on the New Jersey Register and on the Federal Register of Historic Places, and it has been since 1941. So it's a very old and kind of venerated site in Hanover Township. It's one of our oldest buildings, one of our oldest colonial buildings that have survived over the years. But the house has deteriorated to such an extent that it requires interior and especially exterior renovation. In 2023, the Township Committee applied for a grant through the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund, and we were awarded a grant in the amount of $338,300, which also requires a 20% township match. In 2023, the township also applied for a New Jersey Historic Preservation Grant, and thank God we were awarded a grant in the amount of $539,250. So what we are about to do is embark upon a Phase 1. And the Phase 1 would include the spot repair of masonry, wood cladding restoration, repair to the windows, and also painting the structure. And there are certain regulations that you have to follow. You can't just go out and slap a coat of paint on the building. There are requirements under the federal and state regulations that require that individuals, consultants who have a lot of experience and expertise in working on restoration of historic buildings have to follow. So what we had to do, what the engineering had to do, the engineering department worked with Clark Caton Hintz, our consultant, to prepare a pre-qualification package, which means that only certain architectural groups who have that experience and expertise to help preserve and protect an historic structure can bid on the proposal. So that's what we're about to be embark upon, and the pre-qualification requires a very stringent work to be done through the Secretary of the Interior Standards for the treatment of historic properties, and also subject to the requirements of the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund. So that's what it's all about, and at this time, I would ask for a motion to convene the public hearing.
Motion, please.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning the exterior repair and restoration of the Tuttle House? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
There was a time that I could stand up without making noises. It is sad. My name is Mike Joknitsky. I am the chairman of the Landmark Commission. I am the chairman of the 250-350 Committee of Town for the various celebrations of this year. I live at number 57 Oak Boulevard, Cedar Knolls, and I would like to add just a little thing to what Joe said. I'd like to humanize it a little bit in that the woman who donated the home to Hanover Township was one of our neighbors. She had been a neighbor from when she moved into the Tuttle House at age 3 in 1923, and she was a neighbor until the day she passed, still living in that home for 97 years. And when I tell the story, I say she almost lived 100 years in the same house, which is incredibly rare. The reason that house should be preserved is not just that it was built in 1796. The reason it should be preserved is its 4,000 square feet of unique home in unique location, physically next to the Whippany Burying Yard. That area has been dubbed Whippany Historic because the amount of history in that tiny little area is incredible. That Whippany is 100 years older than the United States can't be seen in that area, but across from that house is the hill where the first television broadcast in history was transmitted from. About 100 yards away from that house is the location of the first iron forge in northwest New Jersey, the one that started a giant iron industry. That house is physically across the street from the Railroad Museum, from a fire museum. The Whippany Burying Yard will become, or is, a living museum because we give tours of it all the time. So we are in the process of creating literally a historic district out of what is right now labeled Whippany Historic. And other towns have such areas, and other towns take their children to their town museums to understand the incredible history of the town. And we do not have any museum in town that talks about the history of our town, and the value of a museum of that sort is that you teach your children to be proud of the ground that they walk on, and to take pride in the fact that their ancestors have done great things, because we did great things in this town, and when you point to the future, we will be doing more great things. And so preserving that house is so incredibly important. So I thank you very much for your attention to the home, and we're grateful to you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Agnes Lachlan. I live at 25 Apple Tree Lane. I just have a simple question. How long do you think this process is going to take?
Well, this is phase one. The first thing we have to go out and solicit through the pre-qualification
I heard that.
process the qualified bidders. Jerry, do you think you can address that question on how long it might take?
No, I really can't. Once we have a contractor engaged, they'll have to provide a project schedule, and at that point, we'll have a better idea of how long that process will take. I really couldn't afford a guess right now.
Okay, I just wondered, it's already been 5 years since we started this process and got these grants, and every year that house gets older, more things go wrong with it. So the sooner the better, actually. Okay, that's it. Thank you for your
Thank you for your comments.
I think it's important to note that, I'm sure Brian can even comment on this, this first phase is to protect the integrity and the house itself. Between work on the windows, work on the clapboards, work on the paint, etc., is to seal the house better against the weather. If we don't do something in this first phase, there won't be a second phase. So it's critically important that we stabilize the home from the exterior and the weather, so that's very important.
Just to add what what Ron just said, is in 2002, I did a very big job on Ellis Island, the portion not open to the public. And they spent a fortune on what they classified as containment. And containment is going to save you a fortune in the long run if you want to preserve the structure. And this is more or less containment.
On those lines, yeah.
And then preparing to preserve the structure and then move forward with the structure. Because we're also looking at a lot of money, and we just discussed with Gary and the public the importance of a balance in our budget. But this is going to preserve what we have in a much, much better way, and in that category of containment.
Okay, my name is Greg Walsh. I live at 12 Mount Vernon Way in Whippany, and I just have one simple question. You're talking about Phase 1. What is the timeline for Phase 1? Phase 1 is a generic kind of thing that can start at any time. When is it going to start?
Well, we're now ready, sir, to go out and seek the pre-qualified bidders. And there's stringent requirements for those bidders to apply in the whole process. Now, as Jerry Messera pointed out, we really don't have a timeline on how long that would take.
Do you have a contractor or any people that you can submit bids to?
That's what this process is all about. The governing body has to adopt the regulations for pre-qualification. Once we go through this process, then we can then solicit for bidders.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to the point of soliciting for bids yet.
That's
No.
correct.
Okay,
But
thank you.
I'm glad you raised that point, if I might, Mayor and members of the Township Committee. There are criteria that have to be followed when we go out with this pre-qualification. And very quickly, I'd just like to read those pre-qualification requirements into the record. Number one, the prospective bidder acting as a general contractor shall have experience in project supervision and administration of historic preservation projects. Two, the prospective bidder's superintendent, manager shall have experience in project supervision and administration of historic preservation projects. Three, the prospective bidder must not have wrongfully defaulted on a contract for non-performance within the past 5 years. Four, the prospective bidder must not have been denied a consent of surety, bid bond, on performance bond within the past 12 months. Five, the prospective bidder must provide the name and title of all principal members. And six, a list of all current projects underway to demonstrate ability to adhere to project completion schedule. So what all that means is that once we go out and we receive bids, we have to make sure that these 6 criteria are met to the extent that they're required by the state.
And to your point, Joe, that criteria limits the number of contractors that could potentially bid.
That's
And
correct.
then, once they do bid, depending on how many we get, right, we do have to look over them and approve them. And sometimes we've been in situations where bidders are not qualified for one reason or another. It's not only about the best price, there's certain criteria. So it's a process.
That's it. Anyone else like to comment on this item?
Motion to close?
Second?
May I have a second? All in favor to close?
Aye.
Now, may I have a motion to approve the pre-qualification regulations to qualify bidders for the exterior repair and restoration of the Tuttle House? May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Aye.
Committeeman Fairmosca. Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So approved. Thank you, everyone. Next is the public hearing and adoption of ordinances 17, 18, 19, and 20. I'm going to begin with 17 and 18 first. Proof of publication that ordinance 17 and 18 and the notice of introduction appeared in full on the township's website under legal notices on March 18th. At this time, may I have a motion to convene the public hearing on ordinances 17 and 18?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance 17 or 18? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now on adoption, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 17-2026 and 18-2026? May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Committeeman Cahill?
Yes.
Committeeman Farah-Mosca? Committeeman Francioli?
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko?
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher?
Aye.
So adopted. Next is a public hearing of ordinance 19-2026. I'd like to state for the record that ordinance 19-2026 is a land use ordinance, and this ordinance was sent to the Morris County Planning and Preservation Office as required by the municipal land use law, and in addition, the law also required the township to submit the ordinance to the 5 contiguous municipalities. Ordinance 19-2026 was also referred to the Planning Board for their recommendation and referral. And in a letter dated March 17, 2026, from Planning Board Vice Chair Robert Dean, it is stated that, if adopted, Ordinance 19-2026 would adopt special regulations for hospitals and large ambulatory health care service facilities, and would establish illuminated standards for on-premise multiple message signs. The Planning Board has reviewed the amendments proposed by Ordinance 19-2026 for consistency with the Township's master plan. The master plan contains no specific recommendations that pertain to the proposed amendments. However, the Board believes that the ordinance is substantially consistent with the intent of the OS Zone District in the plan. So at this time, may I please have a motion to convene the public hearing on Ordinance 19-2026?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning Ordinance 19? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, hearing none, now on adoption, may I have a motion to adopt Ordinance 19-2026?
So moved.
May I have a second? That was Brian?
Yes.
On roll call, Committeeman Cahill?
Yes.
Committeeman Farah-Mosca? Committeeman Francioli?
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko?
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher?
Aye.
So adopted.
Krista, I just want to make one comment on this
Sure.
one. We still can't talk too much about this one, but it's a great, great benefit to Hanover Township. But I do want to say, Blaze, you did incredible work on this in lightning speed, had 2 revisions, and I want to say thank you. We appreciate it, I appreciate it. And I do also want to take this time to recognize that this is Blaze's last meeting with us. Blaze is going to retire. You have one more?
No, not a public meeting.
Public meeting.
Right.
All right, so this is Blaze's last public meeting with us. So Blaze, thank you very much on behalf of everybody. You've done incredible work, and a little round of applause for Blaze. If everybody hangs out, Blaze will take us all to the Chimney Rock after this, and we can celebrate, right, Blaze?
I'm Blaze.
Okay, that's it, Krista.
Okay.
Thank you, Blaze.
Please? Yes? No?
Answer.
Moving on to next is the public hearing of Ordinance 20-2026. I'd like to state for the record, Ordinance 2026 is a land use ordinance, and the ordinance was sent to the Morris County Planning and Preservation Office as required by the municipal land use law. In addition, the law also required the township to submit the ordinance to the 5 contiguous municipalities. Ordinance 2026 was also referred to the Planning Board for their recommendation and referral. In a letter dated March 17, 2026, from Planning Board Vice Chair Robert Dean, it is stated that, if adopted, Ordinance 2026 would, 1, amend the definition of motor vehicle repair or maintenance establishments to include body shops and similar establishments. 2, update and amend the regulations for the number of principal buildings on a lot to permit more than 1 principal building on a lot in an industrial zone districts. And 3, clarify the guidelines for permitting certain combinations of uses. The Planning Board has reviewed the amendments proposed by Ordinance 2026 for consistency with the Township's master plan. The master plan contains no specific recommendations that pertain to the proposed amendments. However, the Board believes that the ordinance is substantially consistent with the intent of the master plan. At this time, may I have a motion to convene the public hearing on Ordinance 20-2026?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning any, of ordinance 20-2026? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Kaplan. I'm an attorney at Herald Law in Warren Township, New Jersey. I represent Thomas Fuller. He's an owner of property located at 715 Route 10 in the Township of Hanover. We're here this evening to object to ordinance 20-2026. It's our position that the ordinance is inconsistent with the master plan, notwithstanding the findings of the planning board. And instead of me testifying as to the consistency of a ordinance and the planning documents, I have here with me this evening a professional planner, Donald Holmquist, and I would like her to come up here right now and speak as to her opinion on the consistency of this ordinance with the township's master plan.
Good evening. My name is Donna Holmquist. The last name is spelled Holmqv, like in Victor, IST. I'm the CEO and founder of Preferred Planning Group. We are professional planners based in Montvale, New Jersey. My firm was retained by Mr. Fuller to look at the ordinance and the master plan and render an opinion on the consistency, or as I see it, the inconsistency of this ordinance with the master plan. And I would like to just outline a few remarks for your consideration this evening as you deliberate. I looked at the 2021 land use element, your development regulations as they are now, in addition to this proposed ordinance. It is my opinion that this ordinance is inconsistent with your land use plan element for the following reasons. Firstly, it will result in piecemeal development, particularly with regard to the IB3 district. The land use plan element is very clear where it talks about coordinated development, assembling smaller sites, integrating these sites into larger development to promote lesser driveways, less transportation conflicts, etc. In my opinion, this ordinance does not preserve and strengthen residential areas. Adjoining the IB3 zone are two existing affordable housing developments. They are in the AH1 district and the RB. You know them to be Hanover Hills and Willows at Cedar Knolls. I do not think that these ordinance changes enhance and strengthen those residential areas. Regarding no specific recommendations, that was a determination of the planning board in reviewing the consistency of this ordinance. I offer a different opinion. I see an overall policy that talks about limiting the floor areas, again, parcel assembly, and the overall flavor of your land use plan element seems to be speaking against small-scale development in this IB3 area. In my opinion, the ordinance as proposed undermines the master plan goals of coordinated development and residential protections. Again, in my opinion, this ordinance, if implemented and adopted, will result in fragmentation, over-intensification, and a lack of coordinated development. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment on this one? No? See none, hear none?
That's okay.
Oh, Fred.
Yeah, you've closed the public hearing. Mayor, perhaps it would be helpful if Blaze could give us, some of his thoughts on the consistency determination, just for the record, because Ms. Holmquist had given, her opinion about this master plan consistency determination. Blaze, if it would be okay, Mayor?
No, I was going to ask if you thought that would be appropriate.
Yes, that'd be okay.
Turn your mic on.
Firstly, to explain the ordinance. The ordinance, and we're talking again about ordinance 20 here, which affects all of the industrial zones, not only the IB3. The ordinance first amends the definition of motor vehicle repair establishment to include body shops, and that for many years they have not been included. But things have changed with body shops. They're not what we used to think of when you think of a body shop. They're highly regulated by the state. They are much cleaner and quieter than the state. In fact, there are many auto repair facilities that are not body shops that are as bad or worse than body shops. So we do permit the auto repair, it's just changing the definition to include those. So the feeling is that the restriction, the exclusion of body shops, and we have body shops in town that have not generated complaints or issues. The feeling is that we should amend the code to permit those. And again, that's not unique to the industrial zone. That's in all zones. The master plan doesn't really have a definition for automotive repair in it, so the planning board did not feel that that change was a substantial departure from the master plan. The Section 2 permits more than one principal building on a lot in the industrial zones, and this was discussed at the planning board when the referral came, and the feeling is that there wasn't really any sound reason that would justify the exclusion of more than one principal building. To permit one 100,000 square foot building or two 50,000 square foot buildings, there was no real reason why that would be a bad thing, or to permit one principal building and one large accessory building, which is currently permitted. Really, it wouldn't have much real difference than having one principal building and another principal building. So it's not the number of buildings that is an issue, and to not allow that just in a number of cases would just be overly burdensome restriction. And that's what the board felt. The master plan does not speak about limiting these zones to one principal building. So the board did not feel that it was inconsistent with the master plan policies that are stated in the document. And the last section, well, not the last section, Section 3 talks about certain combinations of uses that are considered incompatible, normally considered incompatible with each other. They're not allowed unless the developer can demonstrate that they'll work together. And the only amendment in this was not to change that policy, but to clarify that policy. And all it did was to explain some of the criteria that should be looked at in looking at and determining whether they're compatible or not. So there really wasn't a change in policy from the existing code. It was just a change in clarifying what you should consider, and when looking at two uses that may or may not be incompatible, but which the applicant can demonstrate. If they can demonstrate that they are compatible and they won't be a problem with each other, then they can be allowed. The other sections of the code deal with, again, the idea of more than one principal building, where specific zones, and not all, by the way, all industrial zones prohibit more than one principal building. Some permit more than one, and yet we've not seen any complaints or negative circumstances that have resulted from that. So again, to revisit that one thing, the board felt, the master plan doesn't really have a policy about number of principal buildings on a lot, and so to say that it's inconsistent to allow more than one principal building on a lot, the board could not see any justification for doing so, and did not feel that it was incompatible with what the zones are there for.
Blaise, that was a great answer, and I just want to say that, once again, this is consistent with what many municipalities are facing today in repurposing industrial zones, because we've all accepted the fact that there is no longer going to be a tool and die company coming in like there was in 1970 to take up these industrial areas, and what could we do to make them more modern and benefit Hanover Township in a very, very good way. And I'm glad you touched on body shop, because I personally haven't mentioned body shop yet. but I also want to refer to 1970 when body shops were big back in the old days, and I'm old enough to remember this. They had Nitrostand and Bondo. They had Sanders going all day long. Now, it's more or less part replacement, and the technology and the safety and the respect to the environment, it's an incredible opportunity for Hanover Township, and it's consistent with us trying to repurpose old, outdated industrial areas to benefit all of us. So Blaise, I appreciate your answer, and again, great work on this, and we struggled with this for a very long time. Krista, that's my comment.
Okay, thank you.
Krista?
Yes.
In addition, from the planning perspective, as a director of planning, I can echo the commentary of the planner as well as the mayor regarding the industrial zones, trying to repurpose these industrial zones. And equally as importantly, for those of you who might not remember about it, the area which we were talking about was commonly referred to in New Jersey Planner maybe about 15 years ago as the Miracle on Hanover Avenue. And what drove the Miracle on Hanover Avenue was, the predicate to that was aggregation. That period of aggregation has come to completion. We're now at a point where we're in the synergistic period. So I do believe that, this ordinance speaks well to that, and it allows that, the multiple principal uses on the same lot, facilitates that, as well as the purpose of the drive-through cuts. So I think from a planning standpoint, the planning board saw this, supported it, and that's why we're here tonight for this, and I would make a motion to advance this.
I would second that motion.
Okay, so I'm going to try it now on adoption. I'll have John as the first, Mayor as the second. On roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Aye.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Here we go. Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So adopted.
Mayor, being that this ordinance was adopted and there was a question about whether or not it's consistent with the master plan, the governing body may recall that in instances where the planning board says that a ordinance is inconsistent with the master plan, what happens is you adopt an ordinance and then you adopt a resolution explaining your reasons for adopting the ordinance. And that is called, basically, I think the term is really an override to the planning board's inconsistency determination. I think it would be appropriate, just for clarification, since it's been raised, let's just say in the event someone were to determine that the ordinance was inconsistent with the master plan, what I'd like to recommend would be a resolution at this point in time to state the reasons which myself and Mr. Branchow could give to the governing body for your consideration. As it's basically reiterating what you just talked about, why you adopted the ordinance, if that would be okay. If I could just ask Krista if we could just give a resolution number, and then I would just verbally go over what the terms of the resolution would be, if I could just have a number.
92.
92, Resolution 92.
Dash 2026.
2026, and that would be a resolution to explain the basis for the adoption of ordinance 20-26, notwithstanding, in this case, the planning board's determination that the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. And whereas the governing body has considered ordinance 20-26 as well as public comment and also discussion and information provided by the township planner, and the governing body has considered all of that information and determined and adopted ordinance 20-26 generally based upon the following reasons. One, that the ordinance eliminates what would otherwise be burdensome restrictions on the principal number of buildings for such development, as indicated by Mr. Branchow, and that there is, in the ordinance, it lists and states a mechanism to address incompatibilities and to encourage compatible structures on the site. And the governing body also felt it was important to repurpose or update industrial zones and provide more development opportunities for the actual zones that are in question here. And Mr. Branchow, is there anything else you would want to add based on the discussion you heard as to why the governing body adopted the ordinance?
The obsolescence of the restriction against body shops, I think, is part of the testimony that I offered, that with current regulations and practices, that body shops are not as offensive, and there was no need to exclude them.
Thank you. So those would be the reasons, and I took that from the discussion, Mayor, of the governing body, which is really the appropriate way to consider what would be called an override resolution, and unless there's any other reasons, I would ask if that could be a motion and a second for consideration.
I'd like to put a motion, Kristen.
Okay, may I have a second? And I'll do a roll call. Committeeman Cahill.
Aye.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
The override resolution is so approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job, Fred, thank you. And welcome back, Fred.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next on the agenda, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 21-2026, 22-2026, 23-2026, and 24-2026. I'd like to read each title into the record, please. Ordinance 21-2026, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Ordinance 10-2025 and Chapter 61 of the Code of the Township entitled Salaries and Compensation Personnel Policies, which chapter established regulations and rates of compensation for the officers and full-time and part-time civilian non-union employees of the Township of Hanover. Ordinance number 22-2026, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with the Hanover Soccer Club Incorporated and operating the B Meadow Park Brickyard Concession Facilities retroactive to March 28, 2026 through July 1st, 2026. Ordinance number 23-2026, an ordinance of the Township Committee, Township of Hanover, authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with the Scouting America Scouts BSA Troop 155 in operating the B Meadow Park Brickyard Concession Facility, July 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, 2026, during the Township's live vocal concerts. Ordinance number 24-2026, an ordinance of the Township Committee, the ordinance of the Township of Hanover, Morris County, New Jersey, amending Article 21, Conditional Uses, and Article 35IB, I-B3, Industrial and Business District, in order to amend the development regulations for the I-B3 zone district. I'd like to state for the record that the ordinances and the respective notice of introductions will be published in full on the Township's website under legal notices accordance with law. Public hearing is scheduled for May 14th, 2026 at 8 p.m. If any member of the public would like to be heard regarding these ordinances, they be given the opportunity to do so on that evening. May I please have a motion to introduce ordinances 21-2026, 22-2026, 23-2026, and 24-2026?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
On roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Aye.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So introduced. Our next order of business is the approval of resolutions as a consent agenda. Resolution numbers 81-2026 through 91-2026. Does any member of the governing body have any questions regarding any of the mentioned resolutions?
Motion approved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next, we have to pay our bills in the amount of $10,881,806.85. May I please have a motion to pay our bills?
Motion to pay the bills.
Thanks, John. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We could pay the bill, Sylvia. Mayor and the members of the Township Committee, that clears the agenda, and I thank you very, very much for letting me talk so much tonight.
Krista, great job, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good work. I'd like to have a motion open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If anyone from the public would like to address the governing body for any reason, please take the podium, state your name and address, and you have 4 minutes.
Seeing none, hearing none, motion closed.
And second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, with committee comments tonight, I'm going to yield any time I have to Ron, because Ron wants to give us an update on the library.
Yeah.
And Ron went through quite a few things with me today that I thought were very interesting. So, of course, there's a lot going on in Hanover Township. You're going to see a lot of press releases. You're going to see a lot of information on the website and Tap Into and in the Eagle. But Ron, please take the floor.
Well, thank you, Mayor, very good. And you're absolutely right, there's some exciting things going on with our Whippetong Library. I wanted to bring some more of that to our attention. Whippetong Library, a private sector library, does work in conjunction with the Morris County Library very closely on book borrowing, etc. But our circulation interest has gone up considerably. And from March of 2025, circulation was in the neighborhood of 4,036, and into March of 2026, circulation grew to 5,503, which is terrific. That's just on the book borrowing sector of it. But there's so many events going on, and what I want to do is bring to your attention their website. If you go on Hanover Township's website, you'll easily find the Whippetong Library, which can bring you to your attention the events that they have planned, programs that they have planned, from youngsters to oldsters. Is absolutely fantastic. But just to help you along here, what I wanted to do, and Robert, how good is that lens? How close can you get to me? Can you get that close to me?
Touch that dial.
All right, what I'm showing you is their new website for the Whippetong Library. And
Fingers are in the way. Your hands, your fingers.
are in the way of it?
Yes.
Is that clearer? Or no, go ahead. Go ahead, take this. All right, this is a website. It's easy to get to. If you have a search engine, and you do, either on your laptop or on your iPhone, or other, then just put in Whippetong Library. It will bring you to this site. Now scroll up, John, a little bit. You're going to see all of the highlighted events for your library for the particular month. You're going to get all the details for programs coming up for the month, and we invite you to explore that website and take advantage of the programs that we offer. It's one of the gems in Hanover Township's, one of the crown jewels in one of Hanover Township's crowns here, so there you go on that. I wanted to take a moment too to, thanks John, I wanted to congratulate the changes that were taking place in our Board of Health with the advance of Ralph Minoro. Dr. Maloro is advancing now to a full member. And James Calavito will be coming on as alternate 1. Very proud of the Board of Adjustment, Board of Health, and what we've accomplished over the last several years. As the Township Committee knows, and with their support many years ago, we fully changed the administrative manner in which the board operates. And we brought in from the county Dr. Perez as our health officer. He's done a fantastic job for us over this time, so I want to congratulate the board on all they've done all these years. But that's what I have, Mayor. Thank you very much. Okay.
Ron, you can take as much time as you want. I know how passionate you are, and I know how important this is.
Appreciate it. And we've got so many other great things going on beyond the library. We're now posting Any changes that take place at Morris County Airport, on our website, the administrator gets it, along with our clerk, gets any changes of the runway closures for either repairs or updates, etc. We post those in advance of that. Usually we get that information from Morristown Airport weeks ahead of when the closure will take place. So if it affects you for flyovers or noise abatement, it would only be a temporary matter, but you can check that once again by going on hanovertownship.com website to see that. Stony Brook Farm is doing fantastic. I want to comment one thing on Stony Brook Farm. At our last meeting, we had a concerned citizen who brought to the administrator's attention some issues that he might have with the farm regarding the power line maintenance through the farm area and the use of defoilants or chemicals that the power company might be using that could affect the garden. The administrator looked into that. I think, Joe, you contacted, is it Jason?
First Energy.
First Energy, and we were assured that the materials that they use as defoilants are not a carcinogen and are not affecting the farm whatsoever. So I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. The farm is doing good. By the way, anyone that's interested in taking part in the farm can contact us through Recreation, 973-428-2454, and you can get information about having your own garden within our garden. I've reviewed Denville's garden lately. I've reviewed Morristown's 3 gardens, Morris Township's gardens, all very, very effective, beautifully done, just as ours is. And in this past year, some 800 pounds of vegetables and were delivered to the the Interfaith Food Pantry. So we're doing great with that as well. So, Mayor, that's what I've got. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. John?
Thank you, Mayor. Hanover has a very active environmental and green team, and there's a big event that's coming in, celebration of Earth Day on April 21st. This is being brought to us by WARWAC, which is the Whippany River Water and Action Committee, and what they're doing is they're hosting a corporate cleanup and beautification of Hanover's parks. And the companies that are going to come out and do this work for us are companies resident to Hanover Township, Barclays Bank, Bayer, Mondelez, and Marzetti. So we thank them. We thank them for their involvement. We thank them for being good custodians of the environment and beautifying our parks. This is a time of year when we talk about, it's all about the roads, and you're going to be hearing a lot from us. The Township Committee has supported a major investment in roads this year. We look forward to kicking that off soon. The first roadway up, and is much needed to be done, is Algonquin Parkway. So you saw that tonight in one of the resolutions, so we look forward to that. We spoke a little bit about recognition, but I want to underscore some of the recognition because there's 2 major retirements that are happening this month in Hanover Township. One from a planning perspective, one from the Hanover Sewage Authority perspective. From a planning perspective, Blaise Branchow, Township Planner, has been there, one of the best in Morris County. Brilliant, strategic mind, has helped craft and guide the proper and smart development of Hanover Township. So we thank him for all of his contributions. We wish him all the best as he gets into the next chapter of his life. Second individual we want to give a shout out to is Michael Wynn. Michael has run a nationally recognized sewer authority for almost 40 years. The HSA is recognized throughout the country for being the top, or if not the top, the second best run sewage authority in the United States of America. So congratulations to Mike, and we wish him as well all the best on his retirement. And that concludes my remarks.
Thanks, John. Brian?
Thank you. I want to touch on a
couple things. The first thing, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we'll be talking about it at a meeting down the road, but just wanted to let you know that recently the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police approved Hanover Township Police Department in their law enforcement accreditation program. Without going into detail, I just want everybody to understand that to get that accreditation is a 3-year process. It's very, very, very involved. It's so involved and takes so much work that as of late 2025, only 54% of eligible police departments in the state actually have that accreditation. Out of those departments, only 32 have attained re-accreditation. In other words, have done it again, and only 12% of the state's departments has done it 3 times. This is Hanover Township's 5th re-accreditation. So we are a very, very rare lot, and it is a testament to Chief Locke and our Hanover Township Police Department, all members of the police department, for what it took to get this accreditation, all the work that was involved, and to continuously do it over essentially the last 15 or more years. I'm going to stop there on this topic because hopefully in the May meeting, representatives from the Chiefs of Police, the New Jersey State Association, Chiefs of Police Association will be here to present an award and actually then go into much more detail into what it takes to actually do that. So I'll stop with that. Sticking with the topic of public safety, just be aware, beginning on April 1st, the Put the Phone Away or Pay program was launched here in Hanover Township, as well as a bunch of other municipalities. The state has put out $918,000 in grants, of which Hanover Township was awarded $7,000 to go towards additional patrols, as well as overtime and that sort of thing. So this program runs from April 1 until April 30. And again, it's looking for distracted drivers, no texting and driving, that sort of thing. Also, very, very important, thinking about it, in 2024, 42% of all crashes involved distracted drivers and resulted in 175 deaths. So serious business. Star Ledger today had an article, again regarding Hanover Township, that we are officially have received the New Jersey Film Ready designation. I know we talked about that before, but now we're in the paper, so it must be true. So congratulations to Chief Locke, and thank you very much, Krista. I know you were a huge part of that as well, and Joe and the administration, so thank you for that. Hanover Township Education Foundation will be sponsoring or hosting their education walk on May 9th, beginning at Whippany Park High School. There's a walk at 8:15 a.m. in the morning, and then there's a 5K run that starts at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. This has been an annual event for a number of years now. All the money goes to the K through 12 districts. And if you are interested, pre-race packets will be available Friday, May 8th, between 6 and 7 at Whippany Chiropractic, right on Whippany Road. And I'm sure if you Google it, there is a website up there. You can get more information on that as well. Last and certainly not least, I want to call out the Hanover Township Heritage Association, as well as the Landmark Commission. They've got an event coming up on April 25th, beginning at 10 a.m. It's a Civil War commemoration and tour of war veteran grave sites. It will be occurring at the Whippany Burying Yard along Route 10, and parking you can park your cars at Casa da Monte Cristo, which is the cigar bar right next door. Free admission. I'm sure it'll be very, very interesting. And that's it.
Thanks, Brian. Mike?
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, let's just go through a couple things. Cultural arts. Unfortunately, we had Lunar New Year got snowed out a couple months ago, but we had a very successful step dancing, Irish music, and soda bread event. Thank you very much. 2 ladies in the back here, a great effort to it. Thank you all. You guys do a great job. We do have an upcoming event. If you guys walk through the hall on your way in, you notice some art in the wall. We call it Art in the Hall. Joan Speary, is that how she pronounced it? Speary is the artist. She's an impressionistic work. It's on display now. We're going to have an art opening on April 19th here, obviously, from 3 to 5 o'clock. So if you'd like to meet the artist, you want to come down, ask her some questions, check out the art. And again, on your way out, feel free to walk through. And it's a rotating display. Every 2 months we have a different artist in there. So feel free, anytime you're in the area, stop by, walk through, check it out. Also with Cultural Arts, we have 2 new members, which is great to have. Susan Calantone and Brian Hagan. 2 new members have come on, and we just approved Brian tonight. Great additions to our staff, to our volunteers. Again, they do a great job. Glad to have them. Seniors, our next meeting is on April 15th, so if you're of the age, you want to come out to that meeting. We're up to over 300 members now. Last year, we were at 400, but then they have to re-up, and sometimes it takes them a little while, especially in the wintertime. We had a few meetings get canceled because of the weather, so, but yeah, we're about 320 right now. So that comes on the heels, if you remember a couple of years back, they were their own separate club. And at that time, they were only averaging about 150, 180. I think they had a high water mark of just under 200. But now that we've taken it under Recreation's umbrella, brought on some new events, more traveling, we got to 400 last year in 2025, 400 senior members that had signed up and participated. So again, if you're of the age, come on out. It's a great group. There's always something going on. Almost every Wednesday, there's something in addition to all the other events. So come on out. Recreation, springtime. We're always busy, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But Blackbrook Large, that's the big field down at Blackbrook that we had turfed. We turfed the infield. It's open this season. And just quick history, it was originally for baseball, men's and senior, high school senior and that age, older baseball. We turfed it, we lined it to do just about anything now. So be it softball, baseball, the younger kids to the older kids, just about anybody can participate on that field now and use that field. It's now open, so just in time for open season, for our opening day, again, gentlemen, mark your calendars, April 18th, next Saturday, 8:30 to 1 o'clock here at Vets Field. A little bit different, we're not going to have the parade this time, but we are going to have almost like a carnival type of a feel going on. I know they rented a dunk tank, and they're going to have some food trucks and some other stuff happening. So come on out, support. Again, great group of people. Little League does a terrific job. Hundreds of kids we have involved now. They're already practicing, they're already playing, but this is the actual opening. Figure it'd be a little bit warmer when we get into April.
Is that date rain or shine?
It is rain or shine.
Yeah.
Yep, rain or shine so far. Unless it's torrential, and then they'll make the call.
Good.
But we'll keep you posted. And obviously, everything gets posted on the website. So when in doubt, check the website. A couple other things. Saturday, May 2nd, Touch a Truck. If you guys are familiar, several of the businesses in the area bring their vehicles out, and we have Touch a Truck on, again, Saturday, May 2nd, 1 to 3 o'clock. It's kind of neat. Bring the kids out. They love to climb on the trucks, blow the horns. We've had everything from tow trucks to dump trucks to military vehicles, fire trucks come out. So again, got some younger kids, even older kids. It's kind of neat to see these vehicles. Come on out. What else? We got and I apologize, that's at the community center parking lot. That's where that's at. Bus trip, going to resorts in the Poconos. That's May 13th. And it's $80, but the $80 gets you lunch, a matinee, and $25 slot voucher. So it's a nice event. That's on May 13th. Still availability. Sign up for that.
Good deal.
One point of note, the rec meeting, we had to cancel it last month. We combined last month's and this month, so it'll be April 14th at 7:30 at the community center. So we bumped May's a little bit earlier, or excuse me, April's a little bit earlier, but because we had to cancel March, we had just a little bit of adjustment there, April 14th. Couple other notes, just so you know, again, there was some confusion, that's why I want to keep announcing it. The patriotic celebration, our fireworks here at town, is on Wednesday, July 1st, here at the center. And hopefully we're going to have some extra events going on for the 350th and 250th. We've got some of our, like Mr. Chiznik was saying, some events going on. There'll be a parade. We're going to have some actors and all kinds of other stuff happening. So please come and check that out. Things will get posted, and we'll give you more information as we get closer. Memorial Day Parade, put it on your calendars. It's on Memorial Day, which is May 25th. Thank the gentlemen here. They're all part of the committee. I also see some fellow committeemans out there. The Harks are big supporters, big helpers with the Memorial Day Parade. Again, mark your calendars. That's coming up soon, too. Finally, Bee Meadow Pool, registration is open. Swim team signups are open. We have been told time and time again, splash pad will be open and on time. We were over there the other day. I've been over there almost every other day. And they've been working very hard, very diligently. Thank goodness, the weather has been cooperating. We finally got some nice weather. There were some bugs, some hiccups that popped up, but they've been rectified, and we're moving forward, so really looking forward to having that amenity open. Again, ADA compliant. It'll be open for anyone, anyone, really. Anyone can go in there. There's still going to be a little waiting pool for children, and then there's also going to be sprays and dumps and showers and sunshades and all kinds of stuff. A lot of work's been going on over at Bee Meadow Pool, and hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised. So.
Central Park Hockey Rink. How we doing?
Oh, yes, thank you, Ron, I appreciate that.
Sorry.
One more, we got so much going on. Central Park Hockey Rink, weather permitting, should be paved the end of this month. We'll be able to rollerblade on it shortly thereafter, give it about a week, and then they said about a month after paving, then it will be painted.
Great.
And again, it'll be open for rollerblading. It'll also give us a nice flat area if we wanted to have a craft fair or some type of an event where we're not in a parking lot. That's always a big issue. We want to have something outside, we have to have it in a parking lot or on the grass, and sometimes we know the constraints with that. So now we'll have an area to have that. In the wintertime, it'll be able to be filled with water, flooded with water, so it'll freeze, and it'll freeze a lot quicker than the old mosquito pond we used to have there. If you guys remember that, we'd have to have a long stretch. You'd have to flood it, let it freeze, flood it again, freeze again. 3 times it'd have to flood it and freeze till we get enough water built up to actually skate on it. And that would take a week or two. So now we can flood it with a couple inches of water, freeze overnight, and skate on it the next day.
That'll be good.
Weather gets warm, as we know what happens in Jersey. Warms up, pull the plug, let the water drain out, go back to rollerblading on it again. So thank you for reminding me. So thank you all.
Good, thank you. As you know, I yielded my time to Ron, and it was well-deserved, and I appreciate that, Ron. But I just want to thank and acknowledge Jeff. Jeff, you see that this is not a 5-day-a-week job. It's not an 8-hour-a-day job. I just want to say in the last month and a half, we spent a lot of time together with the Fair Share Housing Obligation, with the Water Authority. We spent quite a bit of time with the Extended Stay Motel. I just want the public to know that although we have a very good team, a very strong team, and a very smart team, business doesn't stop here at 4:45 or 5 o'clock. So I want you to know, as great as it is to have Fred back, and we love Fred like a brother, you really stepped in and you're doing an incredible job, and we're now really counting on you, and I appreciate you, and thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
That being said, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? So moved. All in favor?
Aye. See you, Chimney Rock.
I know, that was nice.
Please got the first round?
I heard all rounds.